Culture is salient within a society or group of people that encompasses language, religion, cuisine, social habits, music, and arts. In other words, it is defined as a socially constructed patterns and behavior. Thus, it can be seen as an identity that is unique from the other. This can be seen in cultural traditions, in events, rituals, and customs that a group of people practices. Saline believes that we are shaped by our culture and is very unique to each of us how we use culture to explore. History is a term that is defined as a reconstruction of the past based on historical narratives and facts. The historian's role is very important. He looks at the events of the past through different lenses to gain different perspective on historic events. This helps them focus on a specific area to provide better detail about the past that can be included in his narratives. History has many types. This includes military history, political history, social history, religious history, and lastly, the topic that we are going to tackle, cultural history. The oldest tradition of historiography is political history that was introduced in the 19th century, which was supported by diplomatic and military history. It is considered as the scientific phase of history. Later, economic history exhibited the shallow state of hidden histories and stated that the root cause of these events is due to economic forces, making history narrow, making it mechanical and dogmatic. The discipline of Old French history was treated more as a hard science, focusing on events, concepts, theories, and charts, not on people or the overall theme of the era. On the other side, Marc Bloch and Lucien Febvre made history interpersonal by trying to create a history that is not biased by looking at the general trends and how they came to be. Foucault introduced more critical approach by questioning how forces influence a person, making us realize how biased history was, how group history should be recorded, and why the things are the way they are today. Old cultural history covers traditional histories of artistic and intellectual production. In 1990s, there was a shift from social history to cultural history that led historical sociology to a new cultural history as a part of cultural turn across social sciences. Cultural turn, also called as a linguistic turn, involves a new emphasis upon the role of language and meaning-making process in social life. This turn saw the development of different approaches to history. Hence, new cultural history are more focused on events and how people live their day-to-day lives. In the mid-2000s, cultural history was questioned based on how credible it was regarding its tangible facts, form, and how it reduced the past to essences. However, during the late 20s, the great innovators re-established the old disciplines and also introduced new ones. This includes cultural anthropology by Franz Boas, sociology by Durkheim, and psychiatry by Freud, stating that cultural patterns, social group, and unconscious mind of people are considered as real forces that influence the creation of history. Cultural history is linked with anthropology in order to analyze and understand events. This is also a combination of anthropology and history as an overlook on popular traditions and interpretations of historical experience by examining the records and narrative descriptions of the past. It also involves the past of human beings through social, cultural, and political milieu resting in part arts and values. However, Anthropologists faced crisis when they found out that their discipline was filled with bias and fantasies of explorers resulting from naive informants, hence, in order to produce a more credible narrative about cultural history. Now, let's talk about the role of cultural historians. Cultural historians must dwell between total description and circumscribed narrative, since cultural history are devious and uncertain. Second, cultural historians must select facts that fits his narrative by esprit de finesse, by selecting fine points that has a relation to his study. Third, cultural historians keeps even little details given by history. Historians list valuable facts to arrive on a better understanding of events, to understand how culture affects and flourished, so that we can retrace the past to help better understand the convergence of opposites in science, philosophy, and political thought. However, cultural history has its downsides, since there is a lack of it in various conceptions of philosophy, religion, or art, and it cannot purely dwell upon logic without losing its historical character and distorting theirs.
Key to understanding Russia is decoding Vladimir Putin's desire to restore a lost empire that resides in history and cultural mythology. What is this place at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, stretching across 11 time zones? It's a question of national identity that the Russians themselves have tried to answer since the 9th century. In my academic research in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and London, I discovered a land that's always been alive in art, literature, theater, film. Russia's artistic achievements record the evolution of national identity even more clearly than its official archives. And this is where I believe we can decode Russia, understand the autocrats, find our way to its people. In this course, cultural history takes center stage, framing the authoritarian state, the czars and commissars, Peter the Great, Catherine, the Romanovs, Lenin, Trotsky, Stalin, radicals and intelligentsia, and everyday households as you've never seen them. We'll marvel at Russian folklore and fairy tales of an earlier age, poetry of Alexander Pushkin, Lev Tolstoy's realism, Anton Chekhov's plays. We'll enjoy the Russian ballet and Sergei Diaghilev's vision, the theatrical productions of Vsevolod Meyerhold before he was shot in prison during Stalin's reign of great terror, and Sergei Eisenstein's avant-garde films. Is Russia an updated and contemporary version of the former Soviet Union? Or something deeper, darker, and significantly richer, trapped between past and present, a continuum from Ivan the Terrible to Vladimir Putin? You'll find your own answer in this great course.
Understanding Russia, a cultural history. Enjoy it now on the Great Courses Plus.